The book that I'm working on that this chart comes out of is called A Book for the Dead, by the way. And let me make that point here while we're just passing through the bottom and looking at the trigger point on the way up. There are two, well, that I know of, that I've read. There's a Tibetan book for the dead and an Egyptian book for the dead, which are, the Egyptian one is kind of funerary rites and technical. The Tibetan one is also funerary, but it has some more, they both have some philosophical stuff, Eastern weird people ideas. But anyway, they're called the Book of the Dead. They're both titled The Book of the Dead. And I wanted to title my book A Book for the Dead, because when you're at that bottom, you are essentially, you know, you're so far removed from the world that I don't know that there's any feeling of being dead that could be closer than that cathartic state of just not caring at all. And when we go back to life and reason, and look at what we talked about, common sense and the relationship between common sense and caring, and how if you are if you have a fundamental awareness of common sense and the reality of the world, you care about others and you care about the world. I talked about how the reasoning behind it yesterday, and I'm not going to go through that again. But you begin to care again as you come out of that trench, that abyss. As you come out of the bottom, you start to care again. And that what makes it more dangerous is that if you slide back, you're going back to some place where you just don't want to go, and it just seems impossible to halt the descent. It just seems like, you know, almost one time, for me, it almost felt like I started to think, and this was with pain for me, because pain can trigger it for me, but I started getting some pretty significant pain relief, and then something just went catastrophically wrong, and the pain slapped me up again. But the mental state was like I'd been pushed off a cliff. I knew what the pain was. I had experienced pain worse than the pain that was coming back, far worse than whatever it was, because you cannot have suicide ideation when you're unconscious. You know, when you hit a level 10 pain, there's no suicide there. But yeah, but it felt like I'd been pushed off a cliff. And it wasn't a huge thing. It was just something went wrong. Like perhaps my pain pump wasn't adjusted properly or some little thing, but the pain increased, and I was thinking, you know, I'm going to be productive. By golly, I'm beating this thing, and then I didn't. It wasn't like I didn't beat it, and so it was like literally like being pushed off of the cliff. And those times are really dangerous for a depressed person, because that's the point where you give up. That's the point where you really want to just give up.